All right, hello everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the physics club officers for next year's and some of the roles for next year. So some general information is that officers are in an officer team in which we all work together, and we should be able to communicate and be willing and available to communicate with one another. And there's also an encouragement of collaboration between different officer roles. And note that being an officer is not just something that you put on your college application, but it's a commitment and a contribution to the different students within physics club as well. And here's some examples of collaboration. Like if a coordinator is designing a poster, they can initiate like a meeting with the rest of the officer team in order to get like the others' art tastes. And some general information is that the president has the authority to replace an officer if the motion is consented by 4 out of 5 of the officer team. And also there's key requirements for each officer position. And if you do not fulfill the requirements, then you will be removed from that position. With that being said, of course, we recommend you to apply. We really encourage you to apply as it is a very good experience. And we will be discussing experiences after some of the requirements, some of the information behind each role. And the general rule of thumb as an officer is that we recommend that you will attend as much as possible, but to gain more experience with the club and more experience with your role as well as helping the students out. And now we'll go into some descriptions. So first we're going to discuss the role of president or director of scheduling and planning. And so the president has a varied roles throughout the club, right? Is charge of like normal club meetings, bake sales, additional activities, officer meetings, and of course, collaborating with the officer team and making sure that everything is on point. They're required to attend 100% of meetings with the exception of sickness or school regulated meeting or other extenuating circumstances, right? And so we decided that the requirement for being president is that you must have attended around 18 meetings. This year, around 75% of club meetings, give or take. And so those are some of the requirements for being president. And for vice president has the role of making experiments, conducting demonstrations, and deriving math equations and explaining theories as well. They're required to attend 90% or more of meetings, right? We always prefer to attend as much as possible, so 100% if possible, of meetings with the exception of, again, sickness, school regulating meeting, and extenuating circumstances. And also they must have attended 50% of club meetings this year, which rounds to about 12 meetings.
The next role is the secretary or the director of logistics. This role is in charge of the club Google account, which means that you'll be managing the email, the Google Sheets, and the documents. This person is going to be responsible for sending emails as well as taking attendance during club meetings. The secretary is required to attend at least 90% or preferably 100% of the meetings with the exception of sickness or school regulated meetings, etc. And the requirements to apply for this position is that you must have attended at least 5 of the club meetings in this past year, with the exception of if you have great organizational skills, we will be willing to waive this requirement. The next role is the treasurer or budget manager. This person is going to be in charge of the club budget. They will be responsible for any fund-related activities like bake sales or purchasing materials for club activities. Like if we are doing some sort of demo and we need like some materials to complete it, then the treasurer will be in charge of managing those types of things. The treasurer is required to attend at least 75% of meetings with the exceptions that we have mentioned before of extenuated circumstances, and the requirements to apply for this position are none. The next role is the coordinator or the public relations manager. This role is going to be in charge of all the social activities of the club, including club fairs or competitions that we may enter, or collaborations with other clubs, as well as managing the club's social media, as well as making posters for different activities. This person would be required to attend at least 50% of the meetings with, again, the exceptions of sickness or school regulated meetings, and the requirements to apply for this position are none. Next is the presenter. This person would be in charge of making and delivering presentations for a specific area in physics. So like, for example, if you know a lot about a specific area, like maybe you know a lot about electromagnetism and you want to do some presentations in that specific subject, then you can be a presenter for electromagnetism. And if you were to do this, then you would be required to attend all of the meetings for that specific unit. But preferably you would attend at least 50% of all the meetings, with the exception of sickness, et cetera, et cetera. And the requirements to apply for this position are none. The final position that you could apply for is other, if you have some other way that you think might help the club or share your passion for physics outside of the other roles that we have mentioned. Again, we prefer that you would attend at least 50% of the meetings with the aforementioned exceptions. And the requirements to apply for this position will vary depending on what you would want your role to be. So that wraps up the descriptions of the positions. If you're interested in applying to be an officer for the physics club next year, then this is the application form that you can use. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at vchsphysics@gmail.com.
Yes, let us know if you have any questions or concerns or any ideas regarding officer applications. As well, we'll also be emailing you the application form, which we have prepared with all the different information. And so now quickly, we'll reflect on our experiences as club officers. So this year, I was a co-president for the club and in physics club, and I had a wonderful experience creating educational resources for the students in physics club, helping to create presentations, as well as working with the officer team. For example, we did the project of SAT physics videos, and that was a very cool way of teaching physics, different topics in waves and optics to the physics students. And so I enjoyed really helping this year with that. And we hope that you will apply.
Yeah, so now as for my experiences, I was the secretary this year, which meant that I was in charge of like sending emails and taking attendance during club meetings and taking meeting notes and all that type of stuff. And so if you're interested in that type of role, it was a pretty low time commitment, but it was still very fulfilling because I was still able to be a part of managing physics club, and that was very fun. But something else that I was also able to do is that I was specifically interested in quantum mechanics. And so I was able to make the choice to contribute to those presentations. So maybe I would also fall into the category as of a presenter, even though that wasn't my official role. And so that was definitely a lot of fun. And I was able to share my passion for that specific area of physics without feeling the time commitment or pressure to contribute to like all throughout the rest of the year, but it was still very fun. So yeah.
All right, thank you so much for listening, everyone. We do hope that you will take the time to apply if you're interested in being an officer this year for Physics Club. Thank you and have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you.